Is Microsoft bringing the next evolution of slop towards you?
Rip Windows 11, it's Windows 12 time, baby.
That the latest Windows 11 updates have been wreaking havoc on people's machines.
Microsoft is navigating a level of internal disorder that it is struggling to keep out of public view. And the evidence of that disorder is showing up directly on the screens of the people using its operating system. Windows updates that are supposed to improve stability are instead breaking machines that were running perfectly well the day before. And the pattern has become consistent enough that users have started approaching each new update with genuine apprehension rather than routine acceptance. Behind the visible chaos of crashing systems and frustrated users, something else is happening that Microsoft has not made any formal announcements about. The company appears to be quietly constructing a new direction for Windows, not as a polished upgrade to what currently exists, but as something that looks increasingly like a foundational rebuild of a system that has been showing structural strain for years. From the outside, it looks less like a technology company evolving its flagship product, and more like an empire conducting emergency repairs, while hoping nobody notices the scaffolding.
Last couple of Windows updates have broken basic Windows features. How much is this going to cost us?
Recent Windows updates have been delivering outcomes that would be impressive if the goal were destabilization rather than improvement. Driver packages that worked reliably are breaking after patches. Login systems that functioned without complaint are failing after updates that were supposed to address unrelated issues. Some machines are entering reboot loops that require significant technical intervention to escape. Caused by software that arrived through the same automatic update channel users have been trusting for years, the updates keep arriving on schedule. The damage they cause keeps accumulating alongside them, and the user base that was already carrying considerable skepticism toward Microsoft's update practices is finding new reasons to justify every bit of it. The machines are not getting more stable. The updates are getting more unpredictable. And the gap between those two trajectories is widening with each new patch cycle.
That's the January 2026 update that broke everything, and it's not an outlier. It's just this month's entry in what was already a catastrophic 2025.
The problems are not isolated to unusual hardware configurations or edge case software setups. Recent Windows 11 updates have been connected to system freezes occurring on standard consumer hardware. Boot failures appearing after routine patches, Wi-Fi connectivity dropping without recoverable cause, Bluetooth functionality disappearing entirely from device managers, and reboot loops that have trapped users in cycles they cannot exit without technical assistance or full reinstallation. While all of this is playing out in the experiences of millions of users, Microsoft is simultaneously testing something in the background that it has not formally announced or publicly labeled. A new direction for Windows is being assembled through AI integration work, cloud system development, and interface redesigns that appear and disappear across insider builds without explanation. The feature set being tested does not look like a refinement of Windows 11. It looks like a successor, being built while the current version is still in service. Rebuilding a plane while it is carrying passengers at altitude is one way to describe the approach. Another way is to say that Microsoft is trying to solve a problem it has not yet publicly acknowledged having.
You're not getting better software. You're getting worse QA. So why?
I don't want to use OneDrive, Microsoft.
Well, it's because Microsoft engineering isn't where Microsoft's money goes in.
When a system breaks as frequently and as consistently as Windows 11 has been breaking, the response that makes engineering sense is not simply to patch the specific failures as they emerge. It is to examine whether the underlying architecture that keeps producing those failures is capable of being stabilized through incremental fixes, or whether something more fundamental needs to change. The evidence building across Windows 11's update history suggests Microsoft may have already reached that conclusion internally, even if the public communications have not caught up to it. A company that is simply maintaining a healthy operating system does not simultaneously run the kind of background architectural experimentation that Microsoft's insider builds have been revealing. When people describe Windows as being in chaos right now, the description is not hyperbole or community frustration looking for an outlet. It is an accurate characterization of a system that keeps updating itself into new forms of instability, while something else is being quietly prepared to replace it.
If customers are rejecting Copilot and enterprises not making progress, we simply won't need all these data centers and GPUs. And that means the hardware bubble will pop and the AI arms race, which encouraged everybody to overbuild and hoard GPUs, starts to look incredibly risky.
The most uncomfortable dimension of this story is not the broken drivers or the reboot loops, as serious as those are for the people experiencing them. It is the implied acknowledgement buried inside Microsoft's background development activity. The old Windows is not simply aging in the way that mature software platforms age, accumulating technical debt that gets managed through careful maintenance. It is deteriorating through its own update cycles while a replacement is being assembled in parallel. That combination, a current version visibly struggling while a successor is quietly taking shape, is not the profile of a company managing a healthy product transition. It is the profile of a company responding to a situation that moved faster than its public roadmap anticipated. The next version of Windows, whatever it ends up being called, is being built under pressure. And the users currently living inside the version it is meant to replace are feeling that pressure in very concrete ways every time a new update arrives.
AI agents and AI generally is one of the biggest boons for enterprise software, because if you imagine a world where there's 10 or 100 times more AI agents that are using technology in the future because they can run around and use our tools, then actually the platforms where those agents are operating.
The dysfunction defining Windows right now did not originate in failure. It originated in success so complete and so prolonged that the possibility of it ever being seriously challenged stopped feeling like something Microsoft needed to prepare for. There was a version of Windows that genuinely earned the trust it received. Windows 95 was not celebrated because it was technically perfect. It was celebrated because it made computers feel accessible to people who had never thought of themselves as computer users. The start menu, the taskbar, the layout that asked nothing complicated from the person sitting in front of it. It did not try to demonstrate its own sophistication. It tried to be useful, and it succeeded at that with a consistency that built something real. That version of Windows understood what it was for. It served the person using it, and people felt that in every interaction. The relationship between Microsoft and its users was genuinely positive during that era, and the dominance that followed was a direct reflection of the trust that positive relationship generated.
That's because customers have pushed back against these agentic AI add-ons. The most notable of these was with Copilot, which has attracted very strong consumer backlash. Plenty of people were already comparing it to Clippy because the experience felt like software trying a little too hard to help.
Windows XP represented the apex of that trust, and the industry's response to it confirmed as much. It did not attempt to reinvent the computing experience on any particular schedule. It arrived, stabilized, and stayed. Businesses built complete operational infrastructure on it. Schools, government offices, hospitals, and corporations treated it as a foundation they could build on with confidence, not a platform they needed to constantly monitor for the next disruptive change. It earned the loyalty it received through consistency. And that consistency became the standard against which every subsequent Windows version has been measured. Windows 10 arrived, carrying the specific assignment of repairing the damage that Windows 8 had inflicted on Microsoft's relationship with its users. The start menu returned. The familiar interface came back. Microsoft's message to its exhausted user base was essentially that the experiment was over and the reliable version of Windows was back. The company even described Windows 10 as the last version of Windows, a statement that has aged in a way that is difficult to describe charitably. Because behind that reassuring marketing message, the direction Windows was actually heading had already been decided, and it did not look anything like the stable, user-serving platform the announcement implied.
We are evolving the OS. Windows is now your canvas for AI and agents. We're innovating in 3 key ways. First, bringing AI and agents into your flow and making it more intuitive to use.